Hey, what's up, you guys? Dan Darrow here with another Options in Play video update. Like I always do, like to thank those of you that were able to stick around for last night's option session. Always enjoy the time that we get to spend together every couple weeks. Talked about options, talked about the market, talked about trading, talked about money management. So another busy night. If you weren't able to make it, definitely be sure to check that out. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. One of the things we covered kind of briefly, but something that we've definitely seen a lot of recently is what I call like the ramp into the report. So I'm sure you've noticed that a lot of stocks are really kind of rallying pretty aggressively into their earnings, at least over the last like couple weeks, right? And yeah, I'm not going out there and like just buying blindly calls on things looking for the stocks to rally ahead of time, right? I mean, there is a definite pattern that I'm screening for stocks to kind of fit that bill, all right? And it kind of like is like almost like I'd say like a threefold strategy. And right now I'm just going to focus on the bull side because that's basically what a lot of the action is, right? I mean, you can kind of reverse this, right? Or basically flip the logic of basically everything I'm about to say on the downside, but right now we're not seeing a lot of stuff play out on the downside, right? A lot of like the bigger moves, a lot of the better actions on the bull side. So Slack, right? Work is a real good example of one of the things I look for a ramp into the report, right? So I'd say the first thing, I mean, and a lot of these, they're not necessarily one more important than the other. They kind of play in together, right? So you kind of want to see like all three of them kind of lining up, and that's what creates a good pattern. But the first thing is a real solid bull pattern, right? Like a short-term bullish pattern, right? So I want to see like good bullish action, right? So Slack, right? What I highlighted was the fact that it broke through like this really key long-term area at 30, right? And was building like a tight base above it, right? So it was a strong had a strong breakout. It's holding above that really critical resistance range, right? You had rising 8 EMA, you had the 20, which wasn't relevant at the time, still isn't, right? But you had rising 8 EMA pressure, so you had like a good breakout, a good base, and then rising 8 EMA pressure, right? So it was a strong pattern. Second thing, strong sector, right? So software stocks, great. They've been acting fantastic. If they're not the best stocks in the market, they're top two to top three sectors, right? I mean, just fantastic action in so many different software stocks. So it's a strong pattern in a very strong sector, right? So that strong sector definitely is another thing to keep an eye on, right? Because if it's like just a strong stock in say like a weak sector, that's not great, right? I want like a strong stock in a strong sector, all right? And the third thing also very important is strong expectations for earnings, right? So whether that means last quarter was a blowout or the last couple quarters were blowouts, right? In Slack's case, it's a little bit different because last quarter was good, but the reason why Slack has been so strong is because I mean the stay-at-home, work from home trend stands to really benefit work, right? Or work stands to benefit from that, right? So it's a little bit different, but kind of the same idea. Strong expectations, right? So people are expecting very good numbers because of that work from home trend, right? So you had a strong pattern, a strong sector, right? And then you have strong earnings and revenue expectations, right? So it created like this nice combination of just like the perfect tailwind for a potential move higher into earnings. So when I am looking for like a time frame, it's typically like a week to 2 weeks ahead of like the report, right? Because like that's kind of like the window where I feel like people start to have it on their radar. It's like a week at a time, even potentially 2 weeks ahead of time, especially if it's like a big name, right? People will start circling it on the calendar and they'll say, "Oh, that's reported next week." I might start the position ahead of time, right? So like a week to 2 weeks out, I'm starting to look at these things, and I want like a nice combination of all three of those signals that I highlighted. All right. So if you like these videos and you're looking for more earnings trade ideas, more option trade ideas, or more options education, please follow up with the link in the description of the video for more information on options in play. All right. Hope you guys have a great night. Stay safe out there, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.